Hello, friends. I'm going to talk a little bit today about songwriting during the pandemic or just during times of trouble and pressure and maybe things happening that aren't so good or that are stressful. And I have to say, I'm doing this as a little contribution to Southern Oregon Songwriters. Uh, they get a little newsletter, and they were asking, for some, what are you doing during the pandemic? Are you still writing? And do you have, maybe we could share some tips with each other. And I have to say that this is how I write anyway. This is my regular songwriting process, and it has really stood up well under all this pressure of these strange and unusual times that we're under. Not only do we have all kinds of crazy stuff going on in the country, not only this pandemic going on with all the conflicting narratives and trouble around that, but we also had catastrophic wildfires here in Ashland, just down the street from us, really, in a sense, just barely a mile away, that raged north and messed up some nearby towns really, really badly. And the air was super smoky for a week, and just a lot of trouble going on. Big changes in my life, moved into this new place. But the my basic songwriting method is the same regardless of what's going on. Songwriting is not my hobby. It's not my profession. Um, I don't really care that much about what I call art with a capital A anymore. I'm just kind of over it. The whole art world on every level, with every art there is practically, is just so loaded with narcissism and spin and marketing and controlling people's perceptions. I don't even think there's any real consistent values or standards anymore. You can buy likes on YouTube. You can buy attention and all that stuff, and that seems to be the main currency. And I just don't care about that stuff anymore. I'm completely over it. I am into small art with a small a, well, at least what I call art with a small a, doing the things that art has always done, which is to connect people to themselves and then to help them connect to other people. So that's what it's always done for me. It's always helped me connect to myself, to different parts of myself maybe that are a little fuzzy and not quite clear. And as I get clear about things and express them musically in words and sound that feel right to me, then things move forward and I feel more connected to myself. And when I can share that with someone else, sometimes it has the same effect on them. And we all get a little clearer and a little more, I don't know, a little more engaged in our lives and enjoy our lives a little bit more. So if you're looking for advice on how to write hits and stuff, I can't really help you there because I don't really care about hits. But songs that are satisfying, songs that mean something to you, songs that leave you feeling better for having written and sung them, then maybe I have a suggestion or two. Because songwriting is, as I said, not my hobby or my profession, it's my life. And writing those kind of songs is one of the things that helps me stay together and move my life forward in a meaningful and positive way. So we've all heard about songs that write themselves. And you probably, if you're a songwriter or have tried songwriting, you might have certain songs of yours that just sort of came out in 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Many famous songwriters have said, that big hit, I wrote it in 20 minutes, and I've had that experience too. My one hit, Jump You Fuckers, I wrote that in about a half an hour, and it probably has more views than all my other songs combined. But Paul McCartney woke up with the music to Yesterday in his head. He didn't compose it. He didn't create it. It just popped into his head. We all know about those kind of inspirations, but that isn't how most of the time it works out. Certainly in my life, most of the time my inspiration comes in fragments, little bits and pieces. And I think if we're alert all through our day, you might find that certain bits of music in your head, a little musical idea will come to you, or a phrase or a word or a series of words will come that will just release a charge for you. They'll just connect something in you or heal something in you, even if it's really tiny. They just release a charge. It has a little juice there. It's just a certain phrase. Um, and my advice is write those down. Or if you have a little sound recorder, hum the lyric, or hum the melody, or say the changes if you know the chords in your head. Record it, write it down in some way, because these little fleeting ideas will go in your head and out of your head. And if you're older like me, they will go out much faster than they come in. So write them down. Later on, you can compare them. You can see like what matches with what. But anything that gives you that juice, that gives you that charge, like my Jump You Fucker song. I mean, this was back in 2009, big market crash, and the bubble burst, and you know, I was doing a lesson with one of my students, and we were talking about this, and how, you know, we weren't flipping houses. I mean, we weren't taking on mortgages that we couldn't afford. We weren't doing any of that stuff, but and yet our economy was going to suffer too, you know, and we were just kind of grumbling about that, and he said, yeah, you know, there was a spontaneous demonstration in Wall Street, and somebody held up a sign to the building saying, you know, jump you fuckers, harkening back to the 1929 urban legend of the stockbrokers jumping out of the windows and stuff. And that just tickled me. It just made me laugh and expressed some of the frustration that I felt. And I just went home and wrote the song. But I remembered, I mean, that phrase had a little something. So, you know, most of my songs are like that, a little bit at a time. I went home and wrote that one fairly quickly, but a lot of my songs take weeks, months, sometimes even years to come to fruition, and sometimes it's a long time before I even know what the song is about. So I just keep you know, I might have two or three little inspirational lyric fragments that I wrote down or maybe put into my computer. I try to give them each their little place, either on paper or in my computer more and more. And then I look them over later and I realize, oh, this one's related to that one. I can put those together, or this one needs a little more of this. And I just maybe add a line or two, or see if I have a theme here or something that can be built into an idea that might lead to a chorus or something. You know, it's just like I just have a little fragment of it, and I'm kind of, in a sense, back engineering it. Like, imagine if someone took your favorite song and just ripped up the lyrics to them and then threw them up in the air, and you suddenly get amnesia and can't really remember that song, but you grab three or four of those pieces, and now you've got to back engineer the song. That's kind of how most of my songs are written. I feel like I've just got pieces of the puzzle that excite or release that charge for me, and it's up to me to figure it out, or at least give it a shot to kind of link them together and figure it out. But I really think it's worth tracking down these ideas. I just have a deep faith that if something releases that charge in me, that it's connected to some part of me that knows more than I do about how to unlock the next step or two of my life. So if something releases a charge and has that energy, I follow it. I track it down, and you know, not every single one of them turns into a song. Many of them don't, but many of them do, or they come down to a fragment or a piece that ends up fitting into another song, and I end up feeling clearer about my life and about the way I carry myself. And if I can do that strongly enough, if it actually becomes a song that I really like playing, just doing that makes me feel more coherent, makes me feel more like myself. I said something that felt right to me, that gave me that yes feeling. That's my guide as I'm writing and editing, not so much whether it's good or not, or whether I think it will sell or please other people. It's, does it release that charge from me? Does it give me that bodily sense of, yes, that's what I think, that's what I feel, that's what I want to communicate, or at least that's what parts of me want to communicate. So that's what makes me clearer and feel more sort of coherent. And that's what small a art can do. And that's what I've always paid attention to. When things were going well for me musically, and I had some nice gigs and nicer reviews and had a seat at the local musical table, I did this. And now that I'm playing out much less, and not getting nearly as much attention as I used to musically, it doesn't matter. I'm doing the same process because this process has always been about clearing up stuff for myself and expressing myself more, as I say, more coherently. Aiming for or working on capital A art is fine. It's just that world has got so much marketing and spin and narcissism and all this other junk in there mixed in with it that I personally just can't be bothered with it. I've got nothing against it. If people want to go for that, obviously go for it. But small A art, that's really at the core of my life, connecting me to me and then maybe connecting me to you. So that's what I've been doing all throughout this pandemic. I've got a new bunch of songs. Some of them I find, oh, these are kind of relevant to the social distancing and pandemic kind of quarantine world that we're in. Some of them are not. Some of them are just songs that feel good and right for me to sing. All my stuff is available on my site free. Go to geneburnett.com, click on musical recordings, go to any album, click the player button, you'll get a player, you can listen to them. If you like a song, hit a little arrow and it'll download into your computer for nothing. I have a digital tip jar there. All tips are appreciated, but certainly not necessary. So all my stuff's free there. So my last album was called From the Temple to the Street. I just sort of released it earlier this year. And I'm working on new stuff, and hopefully next year, or who knows, maybe sooner, but probably next year, I'll make another album of these songs that help get things off my chest, and then I hope that they maybe get some stuff off your chest too, and then we can all feel a little better. So that's what I'm doing in the pandemic. I'm doing the same thing I've always done, grabbing those fragments, linking them together, seeing if I can find something that gives me that, yes, this is what I feel and think and what I want to say in music, and when I do that, I feel better. I hope that's been helpful to you. Write on, everybody, and get things off your chest. Make music. Don't let anyone tell you not to. You can listen to them maybe when they tell you to turn it down a little bit, but keep writing, keep singing, and we'll see you soon. Take care.